Hello, everyone. Happy Memorial Day. As most Americans, I believe, celebrate Memorial Day by gathering with their friends to talk about last night's Mad Men, season 6, episode 9.
Like our ancestors and forefathers.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Before us, yeah.
To honor America's, episode 9, season 6, The Better Half. Last week we sort of skipped it. Alonso, what was this episode actually about?
Well, it's interesting they call it. Last week was about meth. This week, it's interesting that it's called The Better Half because it really is about. Everybody seems to have two choices. There's a lot of, do I go this way, do I go that way? Peggy is torn between, Ted and her boyfriend, Abe. Thank you.
He forgets the Jewish.
I know. So, yeah, of course. Obviously, Don is torn between his past with Betty and his present with Megan. There seem to be a lot of. The show literally ends with Peggy stuck between two doors, and so it seems you've got Sterling trapped between trying to be a grandfather to his grandson and trying to be a father to the kid that he had with Joan.
Kevin.
Exactly, yeah. So people, it's an episode of quandaries,
and
I guess.
Pete too. Like, does he stay
or does he go?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I knew at some point. I can't believe I didn't predict it out loud, but I knew Peggy would ultimately stab someone. Who?
In the front, not the back.
With a bayonet.
Yeah, with a bayonet.
Can I just say, I've never gotten the attraction to Abe. I mean, I'm as Semitic as the next guy, but I don't get the Abe, I don't get the look, I don't get the vibe, I don't get his personality. I never, ever, ever understood it.
He was cuter before he went Jerry Rubin.
He doesn't have the Jewish thing. He's not funny.
No, he's not funny.
He's super serious.
Oh my God, he's the worst. And everything he says is the worst. So wasn't that basically him giving Peggy such a gift in the ambulance?
Oh, totally.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this sort of, and he all of a sudden gets honest because you didn't know that was coming from him.
Right.
Right, but I guess faced with
now that I'm hovering near death.
Right.
By the
way, we cannot stay together.
It's not me. It's absolutely you.
But obviously, the big thing was Don and Betty. That was so great. I was so happy.
Was it?
Yeah, I was.
Was
just because it was like, hey, Mad Men 1959. Yeah.
Betty, I think, was the smartest and coolest she's been in the entire run of the series.
Definitely the smartest by far.
And that's what made Dawn go, wait a second, I remember you.
But her smartness comes, but after she, post-coital.
Right,
with her line about poor Megan, she doesn't know that
loving you is the worst way to get to you.
Right, totally. So perceptive.
I think that's the line of the entire show, of every single season. That's Dawn.
Definitely.
That's his relationship with every woman.
Yeah, and a bit of must be somewhat heartbreaking to him to realize, oh wait, so actually no, she knows me.
Yeah, she got his number.
This is the one who gets me. Yeah.
Well, and it's really interesting. I'm trying to figure out what caused this pivot with Betty. It's like, is she finally sort of coming into her own as a sexual being? Like she's understanding that other people find her attractive, and that gives her power, and that power is in turn giving her. I don't know what the shift is there.
I always feel like, especially in the early episodes, she knew that, but she wasn't allowed to express it because Dawn put the kibosh on that every time, with her swimsuit and the whole deal. She just wasn't allowed to be that person.
Right.
And I think she's growing up too, because she was a kid.
Maybe the combination of I read in Penthouse in 1984 that a woman's sexual peak happens in her late 30s. Maybe it's like a three-pronged combination of that, of actually the sexual revolution happening, and it's right there, it's 1968, and sort of losing the way she felt about herself when she gained weight, and then losing the weight and getting it back at this perfect time where she realizes
she has a husband now who gets super turned on when other guys are coming on to her.
Yeah.
Right.
Rather than, I'm sure Dawn would have just blamed her,
Yeah, that was like a wonderful Henry moment. I'm like, hey, look, Henry turns out to a guy.
Dark Henry moment.
Yeah. I loved that. That was really good.
We have to talk about Bob Benson.
Yeah, man.
What the
What
is
happening with Bob Benson? Besides, he's going to own the 70s. We know this. But how's he going to do it?
Is he like the Anyang character, from Resident Evil? He's going to come in at the end and be like, bitches, I did it.
Yeah, or is he just going to go through it and we're going to be like, oh yeah, they had one really kind, decent character the whole time. Sure, he was ambitious, but in the meantime...
But he doesn't bother me. I'm not like, I don't care what his angle is. I kind of like him now.
I feel like he is a ticking time bomb of something, and I don't know what.
Right, not because you wouldn't necessarily think that in life, but you definitely think it in
this
and in television. Like they wouldn't put him here unless there's some
for no reason.
And he's just this kind of like neutered, happy to help you guy, and like he shows up and he's with Joan, and and then I'm like, wait a second, I don't think anything's going on.
Are they even?
I don't
I think
so.
he's like hanging out with the kid. Like I think he's just helpful
kid could use a
Bob.
father figure.
Yeah, why not Bob Benson?
He's helpful Bob.
Or Bunsen, as Roger calls him.
Yeah, and Roger, you felt just sort of sick for. I hate his little twerp daughter.
No, she's the worst.
I mean, just settle down. Just settle down.
Everybody settle down.
Who calls someone to be that much of a dick?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you see him, or just tell him, hey, don't go to that movie anymore, or come over and
But
soothe
she was
him.
always a spoiled brat.
Yeah.
So why should this be any different?
Also, when did she get a 4-year-old? Like, I don't. Like, when did she have a kid? Like, what happened?
Wait, I feel like we remember her being pregnant.
I think that's been
a thing.
I don't remember.
I think it fits in the chronology.
They had that nice scene in her house. In her
with the funeral?
The funeral,
Yeah.
right. They had that nice scene, but I didn't remember her having a kid then or anything.
You're right.
So I thought that was Kevin.
No.
Oh, no.
That is
I
not
thought,
Kevin.
yeah. So no, I mean,
I think we're keeping Kevin a baby and growing up Roger's. It's a weird timeline. I don't totally get it.
I'm sure that I take you at your word that they wouldn't get that wrong. So I mean, I agree with you. But Betty, Don, and then Betty, and then going back to that was such a great scene at the
diner.
At the diner.
Taking her power back completely.
Yeah.
Hello, hi,
hello.
all right.
Yeah, and Henry with nothing. Like, we're having
good.
breakfast.
Yeah.
We're having breakfast. I think there's some free
Isn't it
tables.
customary to have him join? Have a seat? No.
I don't think the relationship up to that point, their couple relationship with him is that he would just cozy up for
How
some
many
eggs.
times in your life, what percentage of your life have you woken up after being intimate with someone, whether it's a stranger or someone consistently involved in your life, and they've left and you have no idea where they are? Because I could answer it, 0. 0. Yet on TV, it is like
all the time.
All the time.
But have you ever been? Have the tables been turned before?
No, I can't get out of a place without waking someone
Really?
up.
Oh, I'm so stealthy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't.
I stuck out once.
Yeah, you gotta kind of leave sometimes. But what about, speaking of like stealthy, weird sex kittens, Susan Lucci or whatever the hell she's supposed to be?
Well, no, we already knew because she's half of the swinger couple.
Yeah, but I thought we put that to bed.
Oh,
when, no.
So having the swinger couple again with Ted McGinley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Mrs. Ted McGinley is still on the prowl.
But that was a wonderful scene. What a funny moment when she went for the fourth time.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of in 16 Candles when Anthony Michael Hall keeps coming on to Molly Ringwald, and she finally says, "That's okay," and then he does it again. She's like, "No, I meant it was okay. You did it once."
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
I'm being a tease, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
And it's interesting because they pointed out that Megan mentions in that scene, you walked like there was a stabbing in the park, and you have all the stuff that's happening at Peggy's apartment inside and outside. The sirens constantly going off. It's like the summer of 1968 is happening around these people, and they may be ensconced in their skyscrapers and whatever, but it's shit's going down.
Yeah. And how loud did they make those sirens? I mean, they're in the penthouse.
I thought it was my place.
Right, of course. I'm sure everybody did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody lives in your neighborhood.
Right.
But yeah, I thought those were too loud for the penthouse.
But I assume that they did that for a reason.
Yeah, no, and also that never once did while Peggy and Abe are so focused on it, and they're like Meg and Don when it happens, and Susan Lucci, no one even makes a move. No, and they're like, oh, whatever, it's down there.
It's New York, it's white noise.
Yeah.
Right, but it's but they're secure in their little Upper East Side thing.
Tower.
It's not there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. It's not. So, but then I also wanted to. The other scene I loved was the disappointment. So 2 people with enormous disappointment. Don's scene there in the diner with not so much disappointment, but these punches to the gut, and Roger too.
Yeah.
So sort of like the whitest white guys on the show sort of being dealt these
losing their power.
And
it's about time, you know, and like I know Anna hates him, but I still love Don. I love him, and I feel like, you know, he's the hero of the show, whether, you know, he's a sort of an anti-hero. But now we're kind of really taking a turn and like really seeing him as a real dude. He's fallen apart, you know, with Freaks and Geeks.
Sylvia.
Yeah, and you know he's kind of.
Please.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was her.
Legally Blonde. No,
Thank
anyway,
you.
Go on.
So now we're seeing this kind of like real dude, and now the tables keep turning with him, and it's like, it's okay with me.
But how do you not, like, after last week, or maybe it was the week before, I think it was just last week with Don, where we learned Don's brothel history, right? But I mean, and I thought this last week, I guess you weren't here, but we had that moment where just at the time when you're ready to say, Jesus, John is just a dick, and then you realized,
there's always a reason.
Abuse victim, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a serious abuse victim, and okay, and then you sort of, and then today, and you get, and in a way, watching him again cheat on Megan, you still have this, there's some sympathy there.
I think
for
in
him.
a way that the show is sort of saying that this guy is the 1960s. And when the 1960s are over, so is he. You know, and I was sort of kidding, but I think maybe Bob Benson is the 1970s.
Yeah,
he's the sensitive guy. You know?
Right, yeah, right, he is. And because that was such a great way, like him or not, or whatever his motivations or not, what a lovely way to help Pete.
Yeah.
You know, to say, look, I know, I don't want to embarrass you, I know, but this is good, this is confidential, dismiss it if you want.
And that's all he does is
right.
go around helping people confidentially.
Right.
And maybe I'm just naive, but what is the big deal? Why was that such a big deal? Why was that such a secret that his mom's crazy?
I think just because you're...
I mean, in the American modern workplace, I'd be like, yo, my mom is losing her shit.
I think in 1968, you know, it was like people didn't talk about cancer, you probably didn't talk about mom's dementia either.
Especially
you know?
Pete's sort of, you know, again, like, you know, when he says the guy is well-born or well-bred, you know, I got confused with Game of Thrones. But like, yeah, but like that's important to them. So I think in their world...
That's on the down.
Yeah, like Abe or Greenberg. What's the other?
Ginsburg.
Ginsburg.
Who's forgetting the Jew names now? Mankiewicz.
But those guys would have been like, oh, my mom, I gotta get
exactly.
that.
With the mom again.
Yeah. Nurse and
right.
Yeah, they don't care.
But the wasps, the answers are at the bottom of that bourbon glass.
Yeah.
All right.
And so, but just very telling. Like that was such a blow to Roger. I mean, I guess I understand it from Joni, although I don't. Like, you might want to just say, like, make Roger a grandfatherly figure also to Kevin.
Yeah, but Joan is looking for stability, like for real stability. I think she wants out of mom, you know, the mom dynamic with her mom, and
she knows how unreliable Sterling is.
Yes, and she's always been like, you know, good time gal, like whatever. I know what this is, and now she has a kid. I think she can put her cards on the table and say, no, that's not good enough.
Yeah,
you're all in or you're all out.
I suddenly, like, it seemed to me, I got this feeling now that every episode I watch, I'm going to be afraid that Roger has the big one. He's done, which would bum me out enormously. And now I feel like Don's going to die too. I feel like when it's over.
No, how dare you?
But how is Don going to be? Because you know, there's no point in the next year in season 7 being. There's really no point in it being 1969. Like we've got, like, what? Oh, look, we're on the moon. Who gives a shit? You know? No, it's
going to be like the last episode of Berlin Alexanderplatz, where it's all set in the far future or something. I don't know.
It's got to be like 72.
Well, I know that
it's got to be the 70s.
Matthew Weiner knows how it's going to end. He's talked about it since the first, since I think the second season, and he says he just hopes no one beats him to it, with whatever they're doing on their TV shows. So he's always known. Right. We just don't know. Right. Do you think next season's the last season?
Yeah, next season is it. Season 7 is it. Oh, yeah. So anyway, I loved it. It was just, I mean, if you want stuff to happen, stuff happens.
And by the way, are y'all following 1980s Don Draper on Twitter?
It's my favorite.
It's hilarious.
Ben, you have to. It's 80s Don Draper. I'm so glad you said that. He has, just these sort of philosophical.
The sort of Don Draperisms about what people want, but they're applied to things like the safety dance.
Yeah, there's one that's something like,
or the Noid.
Maybe it's the Noid who should be avoiding us.
That's funny. All right, I'll follow that. All right, that was an excellent episode. It had Pete is he's that guy Vincent. How do you pronounce it?
Kartheiser.
That guy's good. Everybody's good.
His hair. What I can't figure out what's fake and what's not.
Yeah,
It's amazing
yeah.
what they're doing.
Oh, but how about the advice
Highly sculpted cowlick.
that Doug, what's that guy's name? Doug, not Doug. What's his
Bob Benson?
No. We are.
Oh, Duck. Ducky. Duck.
Doug. Wrong thing.
No, but I think that is his name, and they call him
Right,
Duck.
I know. So,
The headhunter, right?
so
Yeah.
Duck's advice to Pete, I thought was interesting and strange. Like get your family together, or none of this, or you can't become the powerful, secure man. Like he sensed Pete's desperation, and that if Pete controlled his family, sudden that desperation wouldn't be in the air.
Right. Well, because that's kind of what happened to Duck too with his alcoholism.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it seems different though. But yes, so then Pete needs to get the family in order.
Get his house in order, literally.
Get his house in order, and somehow clearly needs to sort of make a play to be not one of the 6 guys who doesn't get a name there.
Right.
I like it that 2 guys there are literally dead. yeah.
Well, and I love the whole opening scene where Pete keeps talking and no one is paying any attention to him.
Yeah.
It's like, is Pete a ghost now? What's happening?
That's classic Pete.
And Pete with his, it speaks.
I think the only reason any of us actually didn't hate Harry was just because he had so little to say.
Yeah, but man, the more you hear from Harry, the less you like him. That guy's good
Harry.
too, man.
Yeah.
Those are just talented people. All right, so next, how many left? Do we know?
3 or 4, I guess.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
Yeah, 12 or 13. That's it. And Game of Thrones has 2 left.
Stop.
Yeah. All right.
Stop it.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Thanks. Oh, by the way, Alonso, Gina, Ben.
That was amazing.
Suspense. Keep them on the edge of their seats.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
That's why they have Chiron.